Now in Ahmedabad, we've reached a very special place, a place that has been more than 100 years old when you call and talk about this conglomerate. It's Arvind, the Arvind Group. Started in 1931, Arvind Mills, and started because of a Swadeshi movement. They moved to there from khadi to denim, now in real estate, now in engineering side as well, and everything that we'll talk about the group. It's been such a long time. How are they facing with terms of challenges? Over the years, what changed for them? Everything we'll talk about that. And we have, for the very first time, both the brothers together, the fifth generation of this group. And we have Punit Lalbhai joining with us, who's the Vice Chairman and Executive Director at Arvind Limited, as well as Kulin Lalbhai ji. Thank you so much, and Vice Chairman and non-Executive Director at Arvind Fashions. So thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks
it's a pleasure being
Pleasure's
here.
ours.
And I think this is a very exciting plant also, right? Because it's on the sustainability side that now the focus is coming in as well.
Yes, so I think textiles, which has been the group's traditional business, has a very, very large environmental footprint. And I think with the way the world is sort of going and the way the consumer is also becoming very conscious about sustainability issues, this center was established to conserve water.
Yeah.
And it's been established with one of our largest business partners, the Gap Inc. And we are going to use this center to incubate new ideas around water, to do testing, to do technology development, and to go out into the field and save billions of liters of water.
Absolutely. But, over the years, it's more than 100 years, 1931 to now. So there's been a lot of transformation that one talks about, right? You starting from khadi to denim to the newest trends that we have. How is that journey, if you could tell me about the process that since you all started, how is that journey changing? How are consumers changing?
I think, if we just go back to the journey of this group, I think one definition or one pattern has been that we have had a constant reinvention. I think for any business to survive for 100 years, you have to constantly change. And as you said, when we started out, when the whole Swadeshi movement was there, we were producing a lot of traditional textile clothing. In the 80s, I think when my father started getting very active in the business, he realized that the traditional textiles were under a lot of pressure from the unorganized segment. So he had this vision called Renovision, where he reinvented the company and pivoted it to an export-oriented model. And that's what made Arvind the largest denim company in the world.
Absolutely. I think Flying Machine was also one of those first
denim brands
yes, in India that we had as well.
Yes.
So that was something that, we started as an own. And it's a proud moment for the country when this happens. And what they say is like fashion is not, it's evolutionary, not revolutionary. What is your thought on that? How do you see that trend changing over these years?
So I think trends keep changing, but I think the important thing is that the supply chain is getting more and more consolidated. So larger players are asked by brand partners to do more and more. I think sustainability is going to be definitely a very big part of the future. So for example, at Arvind, we require 30,000 cubic meters of water, which is almost equal to Ahmedabad's drinking water needs. And we are very happy to say that almost all of it is recycled. So we don't use fresh water for our production of textiles. The water goes in a closed loop, and we also make up the evaporation losses through a partnership with the city, where we get sewage from the city. So on water, we are also working very aggressively to conserve water in the farms. We work with about 100,000 farmers to grow sustainable cotton. We are rapidly decarbonizing our energy footprint. So a lot of renewables. We are replacing fossil fuels for thermal energy using agro waste. So sustainability is a very, very strong theme. So I think these are the couple of big themes right now: consolidation, more verticality, and huge focus on sustainability.
Also on the consumer side, I think there's always been evolution. So when we started our consumer business in the 90s, Arvind Fashions, Indians largely bought clothing out of multi-brand outlets. They were almost like Kirana stores. You had plastic bags in which, you used to remove the shirts and sell. So right from the MBO of the 90s, and then late 90s, we had standalone stores. So the EBOs emerged. So that's how we started selling through stores. Then the department stores came in the 2000s, and that's where large big box department stores came. And then, of course, in 2010, online came. So as the consumer preferences have evolved, we have also evolved. Each of these channels is so different. We've shaped it. And also the casualization is a huge trend. India used to be a formal wear country in the 90s. Today, if you look at anyone, even in office, they'll be wearing casual clothing with sneakers.
Absolutely. Sneakers, casual, you just want to be a chilled vibe. I think we're moving to that. But, when you talk about all this, and online as a channel has changed over the years. What is the difference that you see then and now in terms of online? Where do you see it moving also in terms of any changes that one should watch out for an online trend?
See, I think one of the things people tend to do is they compare, they make it online versus offline. I think the future is a convergence-led future where online and offline come together. It is the world of omni-channel. So a consumer is loyal or wants a product of a brand. He or she is agnostic of whether you're buying online, offline. So it's brands that are able to provide a seamless experience across both channels that I think are going to win in the future. Because online is where there is a lot of storytelling that happens today. Most of marketing has moved digitally. It's the smartphone on which people are spending more and more time.
Every minute you get an Instagram reel
Of
saying
a
there's something
product.
to shop or buy, and that's when
But
you
many
attract
times the journey may start there, but it ends in a retail store because people like the touch and feel of a garment, they like exploring, they like the trip to a mall. So I think it's the best of both worlds if they come together. The omni-channel world is a very exciting.
But I think because today, when you shop online also, it's become easy to return clothes back as well.
Yes.
I don't have to worry if I buy something, I'm like, okay, I didn't like the material or I didn't like something, I can easily return
Something
it.
you may not know also, when you buy online today, many times it's the local store which is just 2 kilometers away from you, which is delivering the product to you. That's why you get it the next day.
Yeah, in a
You
day
think
or
it's
two.
coming from a warehouse, but it's actually coming from the retail store. So the whole model has converged where online and offline are in a sense completely seamless on inventory and on storytelling.
One thing that we always talk about in every industry that we've spoken about is the scale that China has, especially in textile. And, when before a couple of years back, we always spoke about China plus one. For textile, it didn't come out to be that much, right? Like we were expecting, because there was Bangladesh, there was Vietnam. And the scale that is there in China is something India has been lacking. What do you think that, one could do in the industry that we could come up to that level? And how is that going to be moving forward?
So if I look at it from the perspective of the brands, India is very much on their radar to buy more and more from. The challenge has been that traditionally we've been very strong in spinning and fabric, and we've not built the full supply chain, especially the garment conversion bit. And with that phase or with that trend of consolidation, that becomes very important. So there is huge amount of opportunity. A lot of business has still to shift from China to newer geographies. And if India can get its act together on the garmenting front, then I think textiles has a very bright future in India. And I think it's starting to happen. I think there's also a lot of focus from the government, great policies, both at the central level and at the state level. So I think if you ask me about my level of optimism, it's pretty high for the future.
I think there's possibility, but my one thing is, like, I think someone was traveling into China and they spoke about the textile, like how they had the tiniest warehouse, but they used to make 10x of the material that an Indian company or anything in India would make.
So I don't think that's now true.
Is that now the case, or we have crossed that gap?
Productivity levels are going to be defined by the level of automation that comes into the industry. That is going up day by day. So the options available are only increasing. And I think that will close the productivity gap. I think what we have not done very well is manage a lot of labor at one location very well. There used to be nervousness about labor policy, but now all of that is also quite favorable. So I don't see any reason why we should not succeed.
Absolutely. Let's shift focus a bit more and talk about even in terms of advanced textile materials. That's the part that, that everyone thinks that Arvind is only, textiles or fashions, but we have moved way past that. In terms of that, what is the explanation that you would have to give for advanced textile material and how we are growing in that front as well?
There's this whole opportunity, which is actually, a very, very large opportunity, $100 billion plus opportunity globally, around textiles that are not into the fashion end use. They are for industrial end uses, they are for all kinds of other end uses. And Arvind has ventured into this space about 12 years ago, and it's now rapidly growing. It's the fastest growing division within Arvind. Okay. We are now about 15%, fast going to 20% of our overall turnover. And we are in 3 segments. One is human protection. So we provide head-to-toe protection for all kinds of hazards, steel plants, flash fire protection, electric arc protection, bulletproof, cut resistance, all of that. Then there's an industrial fabric segment where we are focused on filtration, so liquid filtration, gas filtration for pollution control, etc. And then the final segment is composites, where we make glass and carbon fabrics and then also have forward integrated into making parts. So we make tennis rackets, badminton rackets, we make structural components using glass fiber. The fabric that goes into windmill blades is made by us. We are also making products for the mass transportation industry. So the nose cones for metros, the interiors for Vande Bharat trains.
So all of that. So how do you think this could actually be the fastest growing side in the next few years, given that, the government is also focusing so much on this side?
Absolutely. I think if you look at this industry globally, a point comes in the development of an economy where the consumption of these materials dramatically increase. And we are still on the right side of that curve in India. So a lot of demand is going to get unlocked in these specialty textile areas. And I think we are very well positioned as a country to build this industry and become a global leader in this. It's also, India is also a great location to export from. So currently as it stands, 70% or 60 to 70% of our business is actually exported. So both the India market and India as a hub for exports for technical textiles, I think the future is bright there as well.
Any specific trend that we've seen changing or a permanent change that you saw in fashion that changed completely in terms for the industry?
As I told you, there are many, shifts which happen. For example, one shift that happened in the 2010s is that India rapidly casualized. So if you look today, the growth is in casual wear. We as a company are very strong with casual brands, and we've been the beneficiaries of that huge change. Another huge change is the channel, as we mentioned. Now people don't just shop offline, you shop online and offline. Another huge trend is the emergence of functional clothing. So, it used to be a very cotton intensive wardrobe. Now, if you look at anyone's wardrobe, you will find all kinds of blends. You will find functional clothing for yoga and exercise, which is more man-made. You will find viscose-led products for beach wear. So, I think the diversification of the wardrobe is happening. And of course, India is the next large emerging market. I think nowhere in the world you will see a middle class consumption boom like what you will see in India in the next 20 years. So because it is the final frontier, almost every brand on the planet is going to look at India as the next market.
We have become aspirational as a consumer in the country as well. And that's what is trending. I just want to ask a question because I used to shop a lot from Sephora. So why did we sell Sephora? Wasn't that even aligning with the aspirational side of the consumption?
So one of the things we've realized in our consumer business is that, there is a certain level of scale and profitability which comes with that scale, which is very critical. So our new strategy is about saying we want to build brands which are mega brands, which are multi-thousand crores, which have the ability to have very strong margins and generate cash flows. Because our focus across the group has been creating value by really focusing on return on capital employed. And when you are having a very focused value creation strategy, sometimes you have to take decisions, and we have taken these decisions across the group, which is we have exited businesses where we did not see the capability to capture value and create value. So, I mean, there are many cases where the brands may be very wonderful brands, they might, have a great resonance with the consumer. But the decisions we have taken as a group across our 4 businesses are a very, very high level of focus on the bottom line and value creation. And we've stepped away from areas where we believe the value creation from the bottom line perspective would not happen.
Okay, that's interesting. But, would the company look to, again, go past or look at any new segments as well? Is that the thought process? And how are we moving towards going forward if I look at it?
So our current strategy is to say we want to build multi-thousand crore brands. Out of our 5 brands, one of them is now 2,000 crores. The others are all nearing 1,000 crores. So whilst the current focus is scaling these brands, in a longer term period, as a company, we have always kept evolving. So as the market keeps evolving, we would look at all opportunities. But the real focus is how do you create brands with powerhouse brands, which have huge resonance, huge pull with the consumer, gain massive scale, and thereby, have
Now you
strong
do have
bottom
those
line.
power brands which you all have kept.
Yes,
That is there.
yes.
One brand, if you all both had to name, that you all would like to have in your kitty. You're hoping. Let's be positive.
No, more than brands, I think always what is important in this business is to get into, emerging segments before they actually fully play out. So if you look at our company, we positioned the company for casual wear at the right time. In 2010, it was not still the scale it is today. That's when we created a portfolio of brands which played that out. Now I feel there are many other niches which are emerging. Take, for example, footwear. I think the whole sneaker market in this country is going to explode, and we as a company are now building a portfolio of brands in the footwear space so that 10 years out, possibly we can be one of the leading players and shape that segment. Take, for example, accessories. I think the future for women's bags is a wonderful future. So we before we think of brand, the first lens we look at is segment. And there are some very interesting segments emerging, and the company is well placed to play in those segments.
Absolutely. I just want to understand in terms of what is emerging, or what we say is that real estate has seen a boom. The focus is there. And where do you see that for Arvind Smart Spaces? How have you seen that trend also change? Because when we talk about anyone, there is any real estate player has seen a sharp boom in the last couple of years.
So let me kind of step back. There have been some paradigm shifts that have happened in India, which is behind this big evolution of real estate. One of the big triggers was RERA. What RERA did as a policy is to say that every developer has to ensure that whatever is being promised to the consumer happens. And because of RERA, the kind of discipline that came into the real estate business, wherein you actually invest behind the project and you deliver the project in full certainty, it created a kind of discipline which started rewarding companies that work in a very organized, disciplined way. So in a sense, that was the beginning of creating organized real estate. The second thing which has happened is the financialization of the economy. Today, a lot of real estate consumption is based on EMIs. So again, because of all that capital which has been made available through home financing, the amount of real estate purchase in the country is rapidly growing. And the third big thing that is happening is that over time, brands which are associated with trust are gaining share because the consumer is actually wanting to buy into brands which bring a certain level of quality and trust. So for us, all of these 3 paradigm shifts have really helped us. We are a 100-year-old brand. We've always been associated with quality and trust. We've also been a company very focused on design and product. And finally, real estate is also becoming a design and product business. So I think all of these things have helped us. And over the last 15 years, we've emerged as a large, growing real estate company working in 3 cities.
Absolutely. You know, I just want to know, because what are the challenges, or what is the toughest challenge both of y'all had faced when y'all started this business, or in the business, that was one of the toughest things to solve?
I think no mention of challenges would be complete without mentioning COVID. I think that was the most difficult period that not only us but the world saw. And because we are a consumer business and because of the way our business is structured, we suffered disproportionately. So that was really a difficult period to sort of go through and then come out on the other side.
For you?
I think one of the things, you know, we've got this, we've emerged as this conglomerate. We have a variety of businesses. Each of them has its own exciting growth path ahead. But, you know, the challenge in India today is always going to be teams, management, talent. And I think the people who are able to attract the right talent and give people a chance to really flourish in the culture you create are the companies that are going to win. So for us, I think that will always remain the primary challenge. How do we make Arvind, you know, a place to everyone wants to work at? How do we create a culture where people thrive? You know, we professionalized in the 1940s. So we've had professional management running all our businesses. We've had this partnership between promoters and professional CEOs for a long period of time. So as the group evolves, the business evolves, the complexity of our portfolio of businesses grows, I think we'll have to keep taking that challenge on and ensuring that we have the management teams that can really help these businesses grow.
We've been blessed with good people. We'll have to keep ensuring that we have those people going forward as well.
Absolutely. But now let's talk a bit about Ahmedabad, right? I'm here. I don't know where to eat. You all have grown up here. Favorite food that you like and one item that you like?
Of course, Swati and then Batata Puri at Swati. That would be, you know, my favorite place to dine in Ahmedabad. And on the street food side, it would be Jashuben Pizza.
Oh, we went. That was the first day I had heard that recommendation. I went and had Jashuben Pizza for sure.
I've been a street food guy my whole life, so even I would vote for Jashuben Pizza, Choice Sev Puri. These are all you know, household names in Ahmedabad, and one should not miss Vishala, which is, you know, a very unique dining experience. Yes. I think anyone coming to Ahmedabad should not miss sitting down on the floor and having a wonderful meal.
Managed to eat a meal there.
Yes.
Managed to grab a bite there. But I have a couple of places, means I still have to go. But how do you beat the summer heat? Don't you go eat Gola? Because I saw a huge crowd last night somewhere at a Gola place.
Yes.
Any Gola fans?
Bhavgir Gola is another institution for the city.
Also
I think you'll
Gulab.
find, and Gulab, yes. These are great places.
So y'all have gone here as kids as well, and you're used to...
I think street food is something you will never escape if you are a kid growing up in this city. It's what makes our city special. And all these names, you know, continue across generations.
Absolutely. But one Ahmedabad place that I should visit in the city?
Sarkhej Roja, you should visit. You should visit Adalajni Vav. And of course, try and take a heritage walk. We have some beautiful architecture in the old city. Absolutely.
Maybe we'll note down all the places. You all should also note down all the places, because the first time we have both the brothers joining in with us on ET Now, and it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for talking about the business, giving us tips on where we should go in Ahmedabad to eat and chill. Thank you so much, Kulin Bhai, as well as Punit Bhai, for joining in with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.